So we are not seeing NR in action in this series whatsoever. And then we have double Patricidal Fury, Guerilla Tactics, Imperial Formation, Enslave, and Blood. Okay, so Jaime on blue playing Enslave deck against Vcymka, who plays Imperial Formation. I think we've seen something similar in the match between Nick and Kunar, so let's see how that goes. Spoiler alert, it was pretty close. Yeah, everything is working according to plan so far. And Jaime doesn't have Taurus in hand, and also Vcymka managed to find Ramon. That was a big hit for Taurus usually. Okay, Calvit is in Jaime's hand. I think you are bound to find it on blue coin always in Enslave 6 on the last mulligan. If you'd missed your Calvit in on the red coin, you might play without it. Wilgefortz is in deck, and this version Vcymka is playing is not running. It is not running. Yeah, that thought escaped me. It is not playing Calvit itself because not enough tactics and all that. So yeah, opening with Calvit always leads to potential Wilgefortz, and you'd know what jumps out. There is Torres at 14 provisions, and there is Terranova at 13, but we see no Wilgefortz so far, and maybe Vcymka wouldn't want to rush it anyway.
None can match the power of
Double soldier, double flanking developed immediately. Engine value of the chart. So does Jaime mirror this with his battle stations? He has bronzes available as engine of his own device here with Imperial Marine. And it seems like battle stations is the choice. I would assume that he develops an engine and potentially... Okay, goes for Buchurt, decides to keep the Diplo for later. Protects an engine as well. And yeah, with this battle stations play, he managed to top deck 2 important golds into his hand, so he's free to play Torres, picking up potentially Wilgefortz, Nausicaa, Slave Drivers, no Ramondo, as it was mentioned. Vcymka probably wants to keep getting points on his Irondite, so... yeah, goes for a heat wave here, doesn't want Imperial Marine of his own, looks like, so Invocation is being kept for something juicier. And we see that Torres is buff himself, and instead of... oh wait, yeah, Slave Driver, Nausicaa and Wilgefortz are the targets. Called that one correctly, but it wasn't too hard, let's be honest. With no Ramon in deck. And once again, a toll punish being utilized here to activate the Iron Died buffs. Sadly, Torres is doomed, so you are not getting a copy of your own, even if you wanted. And also, since the toll punish is being used on the unit that was last played, then our cavalry is, well, being camped here on front row, but not doing much in terms of damage. We see full Siri going in. Vcymka is playing a double copy of Slave Infantry, so this is a card that you potentially want to throw away early. We can see the hands of both players. They cannot see one another's hands, so yeah. Jaime doesn't know that there is no transform, but there are lines. If you want to plan something, you can Imperial Marine one of your slave infantries, and then you can play War Council and top deck one of them. So engine goes first. Also, since Jaime played special, once again the soldiers are just standing there doing nothing. But Vcymka is ahead, so even without the 4 points per turn on double cavalry, he must be happy. I've seen this go Imperial formations way before. This is kind of funny, because when Imperial Marine is being bribed and switching, when it's bribed and switching side, it still works off of top deck of your opponent. We see an Assimilate engine landing here, expanding the pool from Artot Terranova. And yeah, as you see, double buff on Imperial Marine. The top deck card is there. So will we see War Council now? And what was it that Vcymka picked? We know that it's on top deck, so War Council guarantees that. But it plays for 9 tempo, so he'd need to use leader charges if he wants to stay ahead. So 913 would have been enough, but at what cost? Decides to pass. So this goes slightly different from what Kiuna and Nick showed us. But the more strategies, the merrier. So since Vcymka didn't play Calvit, he's still missing his Vilga forts. Jaime knew what he was drawing, and well, he knows what comes next if he uses mulligans. You cannot lead with Nausicaas, and everything else is quite reactive. And we see a pass. So it cost Jaime leader to secure a lone crown 3. This is an opportunity to grow the sword even more if you wish to throw away a card and maybe develop carryover. Let's see. You have the double carryover card, but Bakale is only 4 points and you are losing on Imperial Marine. You can just drop either lock if you feel like you are not locking anything of assimilate value, or you could have, yeah, just played War Council, but since you are risking missing Slave Driver, Wilgefortz, maybe that wasn't the best idea, but carryover could have been developed. Vcymka decided not to. So Nausicaas, Ramons, Wilgefortz present on both sides. A lot of similarities, but the difference is in leader charges and in Iron Diet control versus something like Ku and Stefan Skellen. Let's see how it plays out in a long round. Usually Imperial formation was pushing after winning round 1. This is a different scenario. Steel packs a punch with a bunch of powerful cards, but if I were to predict, it might just fall short a bit. But if it works out, then Vcymka will be making a correct choice with that pass. So Bakala lands, providing an engine on the board,
to make you suffer like never before.
but that engine doesn't, it does not buff self, so something that was picked is not on top deck. I think you might be interested in playing Slave Driver from War Council. You can also go Illusionists on Imperial Marines. This Assimilate deck is not really an Assimilate deck. It plays like Mage Torturer, Artort, but no more engines, so it's not actually very correct to call it full-on Assimilate. So yeah, engines on the board, and then they are starting buffing itself soon, we hope. We hope to see some like 20-point Marines by the end of it. And if you are just joining us, this is a competitive Gwent show match. Winner of this gets $50 and points for his team. Competing teams are Gwint pro Polska and GwentDetta. Jaime is representing Gwint pro Polska and Vcymka is playing for GwentDetta. And later on there is another match, so after we are done with this best of 5 series, there is more to come, featuring Kupcevich and Sergo. And yeah, there are no locks, no anything. Control is limited to Stefan Skellen here, and we might see it. There is one toll punish. Ramon is not marked with the spine for the coup. We see Iron Diet just killing Artort earlier, so it was only 8 damage on the card. But if Vcymka is expecting Stefan buffing 2 assimilate units, maybe it was correct, because Stefan grows it by 4, every Nausicaa plate grows it, every slave driver procs it couple of times as well, so you are trading 1 per turn value to 2 per turn value, basically. And Marduk found a game how to communicate with the caster. That's fun. Okay, so engine lands and guesses correctly, although yeah. Once again, Calvit sorting the deck helps a lot with your decisions. If you want to get constant value from Imperial Marines, consider running Enslave with Calvit. But yeah, you can get by without it as well. Close on points for now, and they are doing mostly the same things. Okay, so this is a slave driver then. Ramon with Nausicaa is being preserved for later. Would you look at that? Wait. What did this Imperial Marine pick then? As it didn't... Ah, okay. Wait, yeah. I see. But yeah, we see Skellen, and we see that 2 threats are being removed here. So that's the difference between the decks. You can enslave something, and you can also kill something properly. For Vcymka, it was basically Vilgi Forts and Toll Punishes that he used early on. And yeah, you have to do that to work on your Ironite. And still engine advantage goes to Vcymka here. More Nausicaa, more skill. Well, I'm afraid that those Imperial Marines have something to say about that. Nausicaa is just 10 points. Imperial Marines early in the round are more. Oh, see? Nausicaa supremacy is being achieved on Jaime's side of the board here. And even here in this position, you see that players are opting into copying Imperial Marines over Nausicaa, so the meta has shifted from just slamming 10-point soldiers on deploy. Sometimes it's more profitable to go for those buffy things that go unanswered for several turns. So you cannot really play around cool. As Imperial formation, so that's gonna be always available. Too many targets, too many things already marked. So yeah, already a 14. And there are more. Never stopping. Also, the flanking of this Imperial Marine is slowing down. It is a prime Vilgefortz target anyway, so you'd rather have something else on top deck. Let me see, Vilgefortz emptying the top deck, but we see that the cards that Vcymka picked were buffing by 1. So even if some engines got stopped, others are coming. Nice positioning as well. No? I would have expected a leader here. Ah, wait. Okay, I missed it. So I guess this one is connected to the newer ones. Okay. So yeah, most engines were stopped. Sorry for the confusion. Of course, this was on the range throw, and it was the one. And yeah, then there is no point in moving this Imperial Marine, wasting points. It is a Vilgefortz target anyway. So looks like Enslave still got there. Double Vilgefortz. Yes, it was looking pretty promising for Vcymka, but I think most of the time Enslave has the edge in the long round, and that's why push is what we usually see. We see that JaimeOne leads and now has Skellige and Harmony square tile to win with. Vcymka still has all 3 decks. Vcymka is going first now. So expecting Jaime with Patricidal Fury. And game 2 is an Patricidal Fury mirror. Vcymka is on blue coin playing Devotion Veteran Warriors with raids, and Jaime on the other hand on red coin is playing something self-wound oriented, control oriented. So let's see how that it goes. Both decks are running card troll then, so nice synergy if you want to control something. We see that Vcymka is pretty talented. He managed to find 1 Warlord in his starting hand, and he has Blood Eagle if he wishes to buff his raids even more in round 1. But you don't really want to risk it getting squirreled too early into the game. So this is Maxi, right? Sees an Aeromancer, but also sees that Heatwave, Knut, Svolbrod Totem are at the bottom, so might be not too happy about that. And might shuffle. I don't think there is anything you can read from the observer in terms of the choice that player made.
Corpses. Nay, feed our foes to the crabs while they still live.
So Invader goes into the graveyard. You need to populate graveyard a bit so that your reses are active, your War of Clans, your Freya Blessings. So what's Jaime's plan here? Nothing to squirrel yet. Outside of that Invader, there are more 4 provision warriors coming into graveyard with Brockwar and Invader. Vcymka still can continue playing, but his hand is pretty decent, having Tyr and Kukusia there. So you you don't really want to play till the last card. Also, look at all the bloodthirst that we are getting in the Skellige mirror. Just for Skellige, everything is ready to fight, to bloody their noses in a fight outside of those two. Those two Brockwar warriors seem to be picking targets that are taller than them, mostly, but apparently, yeah, they're either too OP or just lucky with their fighting partners. Fighting against a crow shouldn't be that hard, although look at those eyes. This crow is magically induced. So yeah, risky position here for Vcymka if he doesn't want to risk losing an event. He could have passed and taken, given it to Jaime to decide if they're taking a tie or if Jaime is deciding to take control of the game. Instead, warrior is being played, you are only 7 points ahead and you are hoping that your opponent lets you out. As we see from Jaime's hand, not all cards are too great, and you might be wondering what is this Terror Crew Plunderer doing? Well, it's a card that if you are using it for self-damage is boosting self by 4. If you use it offensively, it boosts by 2 only. So we see here that Vcymka is once again being offered a pass. He has Blood Eagle, and well, you'd always want a Highland Warrior, but you don't want to risk it being squirreled that easily. You're still missing your Sove, you're still missing your Vabjorn. So, decisions. Would you pass here? Or are you going like, I have a playable 6, I have War of Clans that is actually active as well. We see a pass. Never pass. Well, that's an option. And the squirrel lands, but not achieve doesn't achieve much. There are multiple alternatives for this War of Clans. And even for Fukusia and Freya's Blessing, there are rest targets. So we see that a Necromancy is being drawn, but also Swallowboard Totem, and Totem I think was at the bottom. So the deck was shuffled. Character Holder is being developed here. It actually creates not the worst Griffith's right target in the graveyard for round 3. If it comes to that, that all your Sigvalds and Svalbloods and Knuts actually survived. And we see that Jaime is perfectly fine with the last say in this mirror of Skellige, having options to play Soph with Arniolf as a last say if necessary, or maybe taking a well, yeah, he gets the control of the situation, so let's see. Freya's Blessing wouldn't be too bad on Warlord in this situation, but Vcymka didn't find it. Because he can play tier for resilience here, but that doesn't sound too great. We see Vabjorn being played out, put into the graveyard for Fukusia res, but Vabjorn has a row condition, so Yeah, no raid card has been wasted here. Since, yeah, Bran is the only card that you'd want to thin out of your deck with Blood Eagle, that's reasonable. You don't really need to thin too much. Okay, so Knut is there for Jaime. He has an Aeromancy available for Heatwave or for whatever his heart desires. Usually you see opening with Tear for the warriors. This Turshak Invader becomes a 16, Warlord becomes a 12 in Vcymka's hand. He can throw away something like Guardian Slash here. Okay, so opts into buffing his raid cards even more with Warlord. He has still 2 4 provision warriors in the graveyard. And yeah, this is a cute answer to Tyr at 9 power. Olgierd Immortal, that a card that whose power cannot be changed, is a perfect companion for the card troll there. You can say that he's a regular there. So card troll here. You cannot really play engines if you expect Knut coming out, but anything you play basically dies to Knut anyway. Also, your opponent is playing quite a few specials and artifacts, so that chip is not getting crazy value anyway. So Primal Savagery does 5 damage, that would have killed Knut if that gets activated with Soulblood Totem. War of Clans is dealing 5 damage. Oh, sorry. Clicking times were bad. So that's a heat wave for a 12. Jaime is not too scared about the clash with Skytroll there. Can be used to kill off Wallblood, for example, if combined with the leader. But yeah, it's a single use. You might have seen Skytroll the heat wave at the beginning of the previous season because people were running Dream Meanders with it. The deck became a bit too clunky, I guess. Right. Are we seeing Solve here? Yes, we do. Oh, there is no Purify. This could have been a lock. Anything else that could be done with it? Well, yeah, you give your opponent an option to bleed, yeah.
Traveling is an option, you see. One of the better ones.
Ship was not answered, so managed to give an extra point here. You cannot really go ham on something like Sigval because Champion's Charge doesn't care that you cannot be dealt damage. Vcymka still has 2 leader charges and Arniol for Bloodthirst 3, even if everything was healed on the board, so your tallest unit is always getting removed in this board state. A lot of thinking is happening here. Players considering each and every move. Okay, goes for the Mardrum here. So the tallest unit is picked now, but it will be even more, growing even more with Knut, and now you're just getting a superior damage from the Knut. Vcymka is of course not getting full value on his raid cards, but he has Blood Eagle into the King Bran. King Bran already boosts self by 3. Each time a raid card overshoots its damage. I know some people in chat are really in love of this synergy between Skellige dealing damage and Bran getting boost. And yeah, the tournament is has so many competitors. You can see fast players, you can also see players that are taking their time. So yeah, we see the Knut just smacking Sigvald like a friend, and then going to fight with Invader, but he wasn't pulling back any punches and just destroys Invader and removes it from the board. Well, that activates a War of Clans again. So at the moment it does look close. Both players still have a leader. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Forgot to turn the notifications off.
Resist the Jarl's will, and that's how we'll end you.
Yeah, a lot of points is hidden for Jaime at the moment. He has Sigrifa's Right for Greatsword, he has Leader, he has Unclicked Card Troll there. So, are we seeing Fukusia on the back row now? Trying to snipe this Knut that is active now. You definitely don't want this clicked, but you also have your opponent with 4 units on the back row. You can clash with one of those. And if you are going Fukusia into Vabjorn, you can also kill. So yeah, you basically can guarantee that. And this should be a savagery, killing one of the fanatics. You had to click. You had to click the thing. If you wanted the wipe. Otherwise, Gwent's RNG never lets you down. And well, you were rolling the dice here. The champion's charge is always going on Sigvald, right? With all the bleed that is connected to it. So Blood Eagle kills that, and look at this Bran. What a fine value generated through all the damage cards that were buffed by Warlords. It's already boosted itself by 8. That's a pretty nice bonus to the 8 power body and the veteran buff effect. Not every time you see a brand this big. I would assume that this is coming out now. And it buffs self by 9 now. Right? Yes. It also clashes with this whole plot. PO so 24-point Bran. I never seen Bran over like 18, 17. So Vcymka is in the lead here by some 20 points. And champion charge yeah, we see that there is a small blood resurrection, there is Sigvald with 25 bleeds on him, so that's your fourth target. Nothing to do here, but your opponent is still in the possession of full leader and also Sova. So of course Vcymka is playing it out because, well, you never know if your opponent missed any cards. But Bloodthirst 6 is achieved and Sova is pushing a nice point gap here. A win by 24 points for Jaime, taking it against Devotion Warrior players. Okay, so Jaime leading 2-0 goes with how many? His last deck that he has to win with against Vcymka's soldiers. How do you name it? Tempo Nilfgaard with battle stations. Jaime already found Saskia, already found Dana. No scenario at the moment, but that's pretty good start. Battle stations available for Vcymka already. Finds Ramon as well. There are locks, so your Dana is not doing much outside of one turn buff, so maybe a consideration to just keep the card till round 3. We see Saskia Commander instead, if you forgot what this card does. It dies to a Mage Infiltrator. What a nice tech card here. I doubt that the reason was Saskia exactly, but after Saskia got nerfed to 3 power, this Mage Infiltrator at 4 provision dealing with a Dragon Lady so easily, and even damaging the nearby soldier as well, so Staff of Legends. So that definitely stops stops the squirtle tempo somewhat. You are not getting a free roll of Sasuke every 3 turns. Okay, let's see battle station pools. Iron Diet is potentially not the greatest pool at the start. We see 2 soldiers created. They had a target, but they couldn't exactly finish it off, so another Harmony infusion is being put on this Elven die. And another Harmony engine plate. There are locks to answer those, to stop those Harmony engines, of course. And in terms of purifying, there is 1 purify in the deck. It can be clutch at times, but in this configuration it wasn't found, so nothing comes from it. Yeah, poison is influential here. Getting rid of one of the soldiers. That soldier is dying to poison anyway, so its flanking is getting denied. It also is enough to kill off a 3-point unit, so no value is being lost. It looks like Vcymka also guessed correctly on what's on his top deck. So we see the poison connect. We might see another slave driver here, although you can also start 2nd Imperial Marine, trying to fish out the cards that you missed, and that looks like the choice. No, went for points. Okay. So a nice pressure applied here by Vcymka. Jaime can still play out a couple of bronzes, and if he really feels like it, he can also waste Call of the Forest. So playing the Whipping Willow for the poison value. Call of the Forest is how you are getting a connection, double poison in this match state. Also, Jaime uses a leader charge, although Iron Diet, as we see, is only at 4 power, but yeah, he wants to use Disorder. And there is an Archpain Cavalry that is active, so that would have been that in combination with the sword. Ramon is being played, so Vcymka wants to play more tempo here. He knows that poison is most likely coming, and that poison is playing for 14 points. So he'll need something, and if he already wastes his lock, he cannot utilize Ramon after that. And yeah, the sword is slowly growing. Up, up, up it goes.
The wood shall turn against you.
Okay, so Jaime decides to take the worse poison unit, the Forest Whisperer instead. Plays for 1 less point, but allows you to go for ranger damage if necessary later on. So is lock still necessary for Vcymka? Of course you'd want to stop Dana, but you have double top, triple punish for that. Slave driver goes ahead of lock here in the choosing order. That looks like a call for Irondite. We see a leader charge applied here as well, so Jaime tries to run away from a round while still having a card. So Irondite is at 6 damage, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it would be enough, especially with double marine on the board. So, are we seeing first steps towards a reverse sweep of Harmony? Or are you guys believing in Harmony? It has the Schirru, one of the best cards in the video game. After all is said and done, we see that Irondite is still growing by 1. Let's see, yeah, Irondite is dropping, dealing with the Dryad, so it's not the best idea to play your Dana that boosts units in your hand when you have no units in your hand. But this is happening. This is real deal. Are we seeing last leader charge? No. Okay, but this leads nowhere since Vcymka is playing his location. He also has a tie. Wait, was it a tie on the board, or were Imperial Marines used for different cards? But yeah. No reason for him to take a tie, even if it was available. Just wins on even. And now Jaime also has to find his scenario. And scenario is not something that he manages to obtain here. It's awkward to push here though, if you are a true Nilfgaardian, while having Irondite and Heatwave. So, while you achieved one of your primary goals, it's also a bit problematic to just finish the job off, but you have extra points coming from War Council click. Lemons doesn't really achieve much, there is no graveyard synergies in this Squirtle deck. So Lemons is playing for tempo here. 4 boost from battle prep. And Lemons, you know that your opponent has 1 leader charge, and well, potentially with Dwarf or Lake Guardian they can amass 10 points somehow. And yeah, good call. If life gives you lemons, although you have to click lemons if you are given lemons. And yeah, he cannot get ahead here, has to play. I feel like the smell of winning is in the air for Vcymka, and he decides to go for it. No reason to damage when it goes into the armor. There is no connection on the poisons. And now you just do the math. You can also use your leader on one unit if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, should be the end. You also cannot roll a poison from backup plan. There is no reason to play Heat Wave. There is. And the reason is you just 2-0. How big is this scenario unit that gets spawned? 10? 11? At 11 with leader charge it would have been quite enough, but yeah, Vcymka is just 2-0 win even without playing out his last card. With Sergo and Kupcevich going at it, is happening after this is done. So yeah, we see game number 4 starts and Vcymka is taking Devotion Warriors to go against the Harmony list. Double Warlord is already obtained. A couple of raid cards, or even more than a couple, to answer all the Harmony units. And yeah, let's the buffing commence. First Warlord is already there. Raid cards dealing damage starting at 3, ending at 5 or 7. So with 2 leader charges you deal with Dana. If your opponent spends a leader charge, you'll have to go full leader. Be right back in a second, sorry. Okay, back. So yeah, we see the full leader. It is an answer, and this is something you have to do, otherwise the hand buffs are just rolling. Into the hand, and nothing you can do about it in several turns, because, well, your raid cards are like you damage something, they have another leader charge, and they're potentially buffing it with some creation from backup plan, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you're giving your opponent, you're stopping something, but at the same time you're giving them a poison target. With your tall, powerful Arniolf, so this still does 3, yeah. It needs another Warlord to kill something at 4, but Antirion is already at 6. So To kill that, you need to Blood Eagle into a 3 damage warrior, or alternatively you can just utilize Vabjorn. It still has raid cards available to it.
Come on! Show us what you got!
You are spending your sovereign this round, right? Card Roller can be used as an opener. Yeah, this is a good deterrent. How guaranteed is this? So you have a 3-4 point unit on board and you have a 6 damage. Yeah, most of the time you should be able to combine things together. That's potentially a line. But not many people played this match after the card troll the inclusion into the Gwent card collection, so it's an interesting call. But then again, there are more than one leader charges available on Guerilla Tactics. So I feel like you are so in this round. They cannot go to your immune unit, and considering they are playing a Purify, considering they have buff options, yeah, so that's the call that is being made here. No reason to float. 12-point body is cute when played on back row, but you have other units and also control cards to play. And this is quite a proposal to win a round from Vcymka. Drop in 20 point so immune bomb. He's out of leader, the soul finisher is gone of course, so it's not that easy. It's not that easy here for him to fight for this game. You also need to be aware of Schirru. At the moment Schirru can also be played for some value. Okay, so in this situation, if you feel like Blood Eagle in for Brockwar, you are getting decent value on it. Opts for another option though, goes for another option, Bear Abomination spam, the Spawn from Savagery. So where does this go? Can Jaime continue? Don't really want to throw away all the Harmony units for your Mistress of Locthwain later. But yeah, continues playing. Antyrian is here and Chameleon is not being clicked. As it goes slower and becomes a removal target, I guess, and you're still wanting all the points. Can be clicked next turn when another Harmony unit is played and Antyrian's Infusion is in place as well. What's in Vcymka's graveyard? Hafru is there, so if you want to throw away a Blessing, although you probably want to keep it for like another Warlord. So a lot of thinking is being done in this series. It might contest the longest series, especially if it goes into game 5. Title so far, Neverhood versus Lerio, was the longest match that I've uploaded to YouTube, and yeah. Once again, if you missed any of the games, they are available as VODs on YouTube. Quite a few great players already participated in this. And tomorrow we have Denerai versus Kerpeten, also a pretty nice pairing that we got for the last day of show matches. So don't miss that out. The games are starting the same at 4 PM CST, unless something changes, but then you will be notified in Discord and on Twitter. So yeah, they're playing it out slowly but certainly, depleting their card numbers in hand. And Babjorn goes and plays Savagery. No, not Savagery. Yeah, decides to deal with the Treant instead. This is not a big threat with the lack of 5 engines, Harmony engines on the board. And now Scoia'tael has to think about how does it answer Tyr as well. There is no lock. The Schirru is offset. And if you allow your opponent to possess the first turn, as like developing card roll as well potentially, you are in trouble with your low engines, low powered engines. You can go for double backup plan, seamless, 4 damage, and then you just have to roll a bit. Jaime is yeah, saying, I'm not giving you a win easily. I have what it takes as well. Well, does he? With Schirru playing for 12 and leader charges, he gets there with the late guardian if necessary. He also closes the gap, and he has the leader charges to fall back on. Okay, so we see not the best pinging from Marauder, but could have been worse. If you remember this card, when it was printed in Homecoming, it was dealing 3 damage to random units between all units, not only enemy units, so some backfiring was constantly happening. But also it was dealing with immune low-powered units, so an interesting card, but annoying, so it got changed into something more playable. Nobody was taking a risk in the end. So, still playable for Jaime most likely. I didn't do the exact math, but he plays the B stack, of course, is already taken, so, and Elf stack as well. So no Harmony procs, and that might have been an issue, but yeah, we see that he passes. Now Vcymka cannot really take it in the card rolled into long round 3, sadly for him. But depending on top decks, he might not need to. Okay, Tyr and Mysteries found simultaneously. That is what you are watching. Pro Gwent. People are not joking here. If they need a card, they get a card. A tutor for seamless while not breaking your backup plans. There you go. A tutor for Sasuke if you need alternatively. there you go. So Vcymka still has mulligans. He has to show the class, but instead he potentially decides to keep those cards for later and goes for tier here. He has a res with Freya's Blessing, so yeah, the lowly raiders are going into the graveyard. And Freya's Blessing is happy to contribute if necessary. Sadly, this is not Fugusia, otherwise that would have been another res. So Mysteries should take Jaime ahead here. If he's not playing Mysteries of Lockpain, he has to lead either with Schirru or Seamless. Also, Tyr should have been going to the front row, right? Seamless into backup plan creates an elf that is potentially deals 3 damage on the back row. I'm not certain about the 3 damage if it's the only unit on the board. I would assume that the Warden is only unit on the board, so it ignores locations. But yeah, we see the tier exchanged for the mysteries here. So Freya's Blessing is playing for 12 points here, or 10 if taken on a Warlord. And we also see the clash. And there is no Lake Guardian Dawn aspect on the board anymore. So points are immediately cashed out. Now Antirian is only landing at 5 power. The condition of Mysteries of Lockpain is buffing it by 2. So outside of the Dead Blow Blood Eagle, but there is only King Brand, so it wouldn't matter too much. Pretty great cards to carry into round 3 if we are talking about Vcymka's hand quality here. He might opt into Blood Eagle, taking Brockwar and just killing a Harmony engine on the board. Would put him at 18 points. But 18 points with Lake Guardian and Mysteries second chapter. Would have been enough. And yeah, we see the Schirru do a business here, burning only 1 unit, but after being buffed by the scenario, it's exactly what he needed. I think that Clash was also like taken so that he can guarantee the point gap immediately if he doesn't want to play any more cards. He didn't really have more reses. It's a bit unfortunate for Vcymka's hand that he didn't find something like War of Clans there, since Tyr only procced 1 extra time. It did play for carryover though. Okay, so looking at Jaime's hand, he has Seamless, he has Saskia access. Vcymka is basically left with bronzes, but you can say that this Turshak Invader was promoted to at least a silver card, if not the gold itself. So not too many turns for this Saskia to work with, but since she gets the deploy trigger as well, you always go for that, considering you spent all other golds in your deck already, and there is no necessity for poisons because, well, Wail on invaders existing. How big is the brand? Only boost himself by 3. Gonna probably get a couple more points in. Can Vcymka just lead with the tall Turshak invader? I guess so. You can play a small one as well. Opts into killing the abandoned girl here. It would have been transforming and getting a couple more points, especially if the Whisperer is played. This Whisperer is not looking too great. If you're playing Percival here, Percival is requiring 6 damage to be removed. Are leader charges? Yeah, we see that leader charges going into play, and even double leader, so that it's out of removal range on the cards. What would have been the stunning blow? Only 10 damage when you need 12.
Worry not. We'll tend your ankle biters too.
So this is pretty close. Might slightly depend on seamless rolls, but also, if we are completely honest, the Saskia bringing an extra unit. The seamless playing for comparable points to this Blood Eagle. I don't know. Vcymka still has an extra card. I wouldn't call it immediately. So 16 and some points on the board versus potentially 18. This War of Clans is not the greatest. Only finds 1 armor on Percival, so could have wasted 1 extra point. Probably don't want to waste any points, so seamless into backup plan is losing some now. Jaime might consider playing League Guardian first, but he needs to take care of that. Yeah, so decides not to. So now the backup plans damage going to that invader for full value.
Why should I, an elf, a sage, converse with an ape?
That's a 7-point roll. This one is only playing for 5. So 6 plus 2 damage, 8 per card. And yeah, you see the point gap. The elf party has arrived. And the Blood Eagle is being calculated here. You are wasting 1 damage, but you are instantly getting it on the brand. So no Fukusia here, and also I think, yeah, unfortunate, you only draw 3 cards after winning on even round 1 with, or not winning on even, but yeah. You have the opportunity to set up tier, but you don't have a proper card for that. So a bit of roping, Bran, buff self by a lot, but you'd need to overshoot damage 10 more times. So Jaime wins it, and Jaime is a winner. Congratulations, 3-1. Jaime takes it. Vcymka put up a fight, won one of the games, and well, this was an interesting one to watch. I wasn't certain. It looked like when the tier landed, it was promising, but then there were not enough synergies. And also, yeah, we've seen that the clash was being taken on immediately to create the point separation wasn't enough.